Welcome to the Health Headliner podcast by Tudu Digital. Our content is informational only and not medical advice. Please consult your provider. Now, let's dive into today's headlines.
You know that feeling when you're just completely stuck on something? Could be anything, like a tricky problem at work or, I don't know, even a crossword puzzle?
Oh, yeah. You bang your head against the wall?
Exactly. You've tried everything you can think of, and then bam, suddenly the answer just clicks. It pops right into your head.
That aha moment.
Yeah, that exact moment, that flash of insight. It feels incredible, doesn't it? And it's actually really important for how we learn stuff and solve problems.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
And while those moments can feel like they come out of absolutely nowhere, like magic, there's actually a really interesting process going on inside our brains.
Right. And that's what we're going to get into today in this deep dive. Because you, our listener, pointed us towards some fascinating research on this from the University of Tokyo, actually. So yeah, we're going to dig into the science behind these aha moments, see what this study tells us.
Yeah, we've got a couple of things to look at. There's a health news article, which gives a pretty good summary, kind of lays it out.
Oh.
And then we also have the original paper itself. It was published in Communication Psychology. And that one obviously goes into all the nitty-gritty details, the methods, the findings, everything.
Perfect. So our mission today is really to try and understand what's happening when we have one of those insights. Like, what's the process that takes us from being totally stumped to suddenly seeing the light?
Yeah, what's the journey?
Exactly. This research seems to offer some pretty cool clues about how we get to those aha experiences. And maybe, give us some useful knowledge about our own thinking.
For sure. It's a fascinating area. Psychologists have been interested in insight for a long time. This idea of a sudden realization solving a problem.
Right. It's not a new idea.
No, not at all. But the precise way it actually emerges while you're actively trying to solve something, that's still been a bit fuzzy, a bit mysterious.
Okay.
So these researchers in Tokyo, they wanted to shed more light on that exact process.
And how did they go about that? What was the method?
Well, they used a specific kind of puzzle. It's called the Japanese Remote Associates Test, or RAT.
Okay, Japanese RAT. Not the furry kind, I assume.
No, definitely not. It involves 3 Japanese logographic characters, kanji,
Right.
And these 3 kanji look, on the surface, completely unrelated. The task for the participants was to find a 4th kanji character that connects to all 3 of the original ones, forming a meaningful word with each.
Ah, okay. So it's all about finding that hidden link between things that don't seem connected, like a creative leap.
That's a great way to put it. It really tests that ability to find unexpected links. And they actually did 2 experiments using this.
Oh, experiments.
Yeah, the first one had quite a few people, 349 participants, some online, some on site. And in this one, they set up 2 different conditions. They called them fixation and neutral.
Fixation and neutral. Okay, what's the difference?
So in the fixation condition, people got the 3 main kanji puzzle words, right? But they also got some extra kanji cues. Now, here's the clever or maybe tricky part. These extra cues could actually form real words with the main kanji. But crucially, they were not the correct answer to the overall puzzle.
Oh, so they're like deliberate distractions, hints that lead you down the garter path.
Exactly, like misleading clues trying to get you stuck or fixated on the wrong track.
Okay, got it. And the neutral condition?
In the neutral one, they still got the 3 main kanji, but the extra cues they were shown were totally unrelated. They wouldn't form any sensible words with the puzzle kanji.
Right, so no deliberate misdirection there.
Precisely. The paper gives a helpful English example to make it clearer. Imagine the puzzle words are bored, magic, and death. The solution they're looking for is black. Blackboard, black magic, black death.
Okay, yeah.
In the fixation condition, maybe the extra misleading cues are game, board game, show, magic show, and match, death match. See how they connect, but don't lead to black.
Yeah, I see. They pull you in a different direction. And the neutral cues would just be random words like chair or something.
Exactly. Something completely unconnected like car, tree, cloud. Makes sense.
Totally. The fixation cues are designed to make you fixate, basically. So what was the second experiment about?
The second one used a smaller group, 105 people, and they called this the thought tracing RAT, or TT-RAT.
Thought tracing.
Yeah. Here, participants only got the puzzles with those misleading fixation cues. But, and this is the cool part, they were asked to actively record every single thought that popped into their head while they were trying to solve it.
Wow. So they were literally mapping out their own thinking process.
That's the idea, step by step, trying to capture that internal search.
That must generate a lot of interesting data.
Absolutely. And to help make sense of all that, both the performance data and the thought tracing stuff, the researchers also built a computational model.
A computer simulation.
Kind of, yeah. It was designed to simulate how someone might mentally search through this vast network of Japanese words, their internal lexicon, to find the connections needed for the RAT puzzles. And the model had these parameters built in, things like a fixation factor, representing how easily someone gets snagged by those wrong clues. A defixation factor, which is about how easily they can break away from those wrong clues.
Right, getting unstuck.
Exactly. And also something called exploration capacity, basically. How widely they search for potential answers. How broad is their mental net.
Okay, so they had the human experiments, the thought tracing, and this computer model trying to simulate it all. What did they actually find? What were the big takeaways about insight?
Well, the really big finding, the headline, is that insight seems to involve what they termed long-distance exploration within the solution space.
Long-distance exploration, what does that mean exactly?
It means that those aha moments, the ones that feel really insightful, seem to happen when our brain is exploring a much wider range of possibilities. It's looking at potential answers that are, conceptually further away from the initial problem, less obvious stuff.
So it's not just about digging deeper in the same spot, but about jumping somewhere else entirely.
That seems to be the key idea, yeah. The aha isn't just finding an answer. It's often linked to finding one that came from exploring these less related concepts, making these bigger mental leaps.
That really fits with the subjective feeling, doesn't it? Like the answer came out of left field.
It does. Now, about those fixation cues,
Yeah.
they did have an effect.
They made it harder.
Yes. In that first experiment, people in the fixation condition, the ones with the misleading clues, they were less accurate and took significantly longer to find the answer compared to the neutral group.
Okay, so the misdirection worked. It tripped them up.
It definitely made it harder. But here's a really interesting twist.
Oh.
Even though it was harder, when people in that fixation group did solve the puzzle, the likelihood of them reporting that aha feeling, that subjective sense of insight, it wasn't significantly different from the neutral group.
Wait, really? So struggling against those misleading clues didn't make the final insight feel less like an aha moment?
Apparently not, according to their self-reports. Maybe overcoming that difficulty even enhances the feeling when the solution finally hits.
That's counterintuitive, maybe. Like the struggle makes the breakthrough feel even more sudden.
Could be. Now, connecting that to the second experiment, the thought tracing one.
Yeah, where they wrote down their thoughts.
Right. They found that the stronger the reported aha experience, the greater the exploration distance in the thoughts leading up to it.
So the thoughts people had just before the solution were less related, conceptually further away from the original puzzle words.
Exactly. It wasn't simply about having more thoughts, but about the range, the conceptual distance covered by those thoughts. The breadth of the search mattered more than the sheer volume of ideas.
It's like you didn't just check all the pockets in the coat you're wearing. You suddenly thought about the coat in the back of the closet.
That's a perfect analogy. It's about the breadth of that search space you covered just before landing on the answer.
And did the computer model back this up?
It did. It helped explain some of the nuances. For instance, the model suggested that how much those fixation cues actually slow you down depends quite a bit on your individual exploration capacity, how wide you tend to search normally.
Okay, so it's personalized.
Seems like it. And another interesting thing from the model, under tight time pressure, those misleading cues that are conceptually closer to the wrong answer might be more damaging to your accuracy.
Because you grabbed the easy wrong answer.
Maybe. But if you have more time, the model suggested it might be the misleading cues that are conceptually further away that are more likely to reduce your accuracy in the long run.
Huh. That's complex. So, okay, stepping back from the details. What does all this mean for us? What are the implications here?
Well, I think primarily it gives us a much richer understanding of creative thinking, especially in problem solving.
How so?
It suggests that if we really want to find those truly insightful solutions, those aha moments, maybe we need to consciously push ourselves to think more broadly.
Actively try to consider less obvious connections.
Exactly. Don't just stay stuck in the usual ways of thinking about the problem. Try to engage in that long-distance exploration, even if the ideas seem a bit wild or unrelated at first.
So if you're brainstorming, don't just think about variations on the current theme, but maybe jump to a completely different field for analogies.
Precisely. And it also highlights that while getting unstuck, that defixation part is really important.
Yeah, breaking free from the wrong ideas.
Right. That's crucial. But this study suggests the extent of the exploration after you get unstuck, or maybe as you get unstuck, is a defining characteristic of insight itself. It's not just about breaking the block, it's about the breadth of the search that follows.
That's a key difference. It's not just not being stuck, it's actively searching widely.
And the researchers themselves noted this could have bigger implications.
Like what?
Well, potentially for developing techniques to actually boost human creativity. If we understand the mechanism better, maybe we can train people to explore more widely.
Oh, interesting. Like creativity training based on this exploration idea.
Possibly. And they also mentioned potential applications in artificial intelligence, maybe designing AI that can solve problems more insightfully by mimicking this kind of broader search pattern rather than just brute force calculation.
Wow, AI with aha moments. That's quite a thought. Now, we should also touch on the limitations, right? Every study has them.
Of course. And the researchers are upfront about this. Firstly, it relies heavily on this one specific task, the Japanese RET.
Right, the kanji puzzle.
Yeah. It's a good tool for this kind of convergent creative thinking, but insight can happen in lots of different situations. So it would be good to see if these findings apply to, say, more open-ended creative tasks or different kinds of problems altogether.
And maybe with different groups of people, too.
Definitely. Larger, more diverse samples would help confirm if these patterns hold true more broadly.
And what about measuring the aha itself? That feels tricky.
It is. It's inherently subjective, right?
Yeah.
In this study, they relied on people's self-reports. Did you have an aha moment? Yes, no. Or rating the strength.
Which is valuable, but maybe not the whole picture.
Exactly. Future work could try to incorporate other dimensions of the insight experience, like how sudden it felt, the person's confidence in the answer, even the positive feeling, the pleasure that often comes with it, trying to get a more multifaceted measure.
Makes sense. And any limitations with the computer model they used?
Yeah, they mentioned it made some simplifying assumptions, like it assumed the brain processes all the initial puzzle words simultaneously.
Whereas in reality, we might focus on one, then another.
Possibly, yeah. Our mental search might be more sequential or dynamic.
Right.
So future models could try to capture those more complex, nuanced aspects of the search process.
Okay, good to keep those caveats in mind. But the core findings are still pretty compelling. What did the researchers themselves, Zenas Chow, Fengyang She, and Chanty Wu, what did they say in summary?
Well, they talk about insight being this sudden and profound understanding, something that offers a new perspective on a problem that seemed, completely intractable before.
That captures it well.
And crucially, they emphasized that their work indicates insight involves this exploration that spans greater distances within the solution space. Essentially, casting a wider net gives you more potential solutions to stumble upon.
So for everyone listening, maybe think about your own experiences with getting stuck and then having that sudden breakthrough. Reflect on where that answer seemed to come from.
Yeah. And maybe next time you're stuck on something, consciously try to broaden your thinking, give yourself permission to explore ideas that seem, a bit out there or unrelated at first glance.
Engage in a bit of that long-distance mental travel.
Exactly. See where it takes you. You might just surprise yourself.
It really poses a fascinating final thought, doesn't it? If we really understand this long-distance exploration, could we use that knowledge? Could it help us design, say, better educational tools or even fundamentally new strategies for driving innovation?
That's the big question, isn't it? How can we leverage this understanding? It's definitely food for thought.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for digging into that with us. It's given me a lot to think about regarding my own thinking process.
Me too. It's fascinating stuff.
Thanks for tuning in to the Health Headliner podcast by To Digital. Like and subscribe for more health news and breakthroughs. Stay healthy and informed. See you next time.